Okay, these are the top 5 reasons and the top person keeping you from buying a house. Now, this is hilarious, and this is a article that came from Fortune magazine. Baby boomers are why people cannot buy houses right now. These are the top 5 reasons. We're going to look at it. So you can see right here that baby boomers are pissed and keeping millennials out of the housing market. She's actually flicking that millennial off, right? So that's just crazy. No, but these actually have some real statistics around it, and it is actually a huge, huge, huge macro trend that's keeping a ton of people out of the housing market. So you can see, look at them, they're laughing. They're laughing about it. If you had to guess how much baby boomers have in real estate assets, how much do you think they have? And then I'm going to tell you at the end of the video. So baby boomers right now are, and this is Bank of America research that came up with this, and they just released their report like yesterday, right? Baby boomers are outbidding millennials in the housing market due to their wealth advantage. So they have wealth advantage on multiple different fronts. One of them is super important, and we're going to get into that one in a little bit, but just kind of in general, they just have a lot more cash, right? Not only in real estate assets, but just in regular wealth assets. So baby boomers have $73 trillion compared to just $9 trillion for millennials. So, of course, baby boomers have had like decades longer to accumulate wealth, but one of their sectors of wealth is really the one that's messing up the housing market for everyone else. So for every 84 cents that a millennial has, baby boomers have $1. So number 4 here about how they're messing up the housing market for other buyers is their migration patterns. Now, this one's not all terrible news because I'm going to show you in a second. They're going to 2 different kind of main cohorts of places, but there's still migration. So the baby boomers are moving closer to millennials to be close to the millennials' kids, to be close to their own kids, etc., which is driving up prices in home areas that millennials live in. So it's kind of interesting looking at that. So boomers are living longer, of course. I think everyone knows that. And this is increasing to the U.S. housing supply shortage. We already have a U.S. housing supply shortage, but it's getting worse because boomers aren't going anywhere. They're not dying. They're staying around. Millennials have entered, since we're all technically at the typical home buying age range now, as of this year, one of the most competitive and expensive and unforgiving housing markets in recent times is what kind of we're all entering right now. They said even the wealthiest of millennials are finding it hard to find houses to buy. And you can see a wealthy millennial right there with her little dog. So that's a great example of that. So number 3 reasons. Before we do that, actually, boomers are moving to. These are where baby boomers are moving to and driving up the prices: Las Vegas, Phoenix, Orlando, and Tampa, which is crazy. And then millennials are moving to Austin, Cleveland, Dallas, and Tampa as well. So you can see there's a little bit of overlap there for migration patterns for the most part, but there's still 2 different cities. So that's a little bit of relief kind of in this overall kind of baby boomer bullying, right? A couple other noted facts about cities right now: Charlotte, Houston, Philadelphia are popular destinations with millennials, and Chicago, Detroit, and Washington have been losing popularity and losing ground with millennials as well. So number 3 reason that the boomers are messing it up for everyone else: the inflow of new residents lead to rent increases as well. So not only can they not buy a house, millennials, with the wealth they have, they're having a hard time saving because the rent increases are going up in all of these popular destinations, right? So millennials were doing pretty well at the start of the pandemic. We were saving a lot, moving back in with boomers, etc. The elders soon took over again, they said. Boomers wanting to downsize for retirement, actually, while millennials are trying to start out on their housing journey, kind of leads to this weird intersection because they still want the same houses, those entry-level starter houses, and really only one group has the cash to win it right now, and that is the boomers. And the craziest thing about the wealth that they do own, since they do own so much more wealth than millennials do, lots of their wealth is held in equity, right? So when I was talking earlier about one section of their wealth is more important than everything else, this is the section of the wealth that's more important, especially for here, because they need to sell out to those houses, sell out the big houses that they have to get the equity to downsize in a lot of situations, because that's where their wealth is in their house. So they have to sell it to get into these starter homes, and then they come with all this cash and this huge kind of down payment or all cash, and once again it really messes up everything else. So number 2 reason that the boomers are ruining things for everybody: city millennials are experiencing home price corrections. So we've seen huge rent increases, of course, in some of these big cities, and then with the millennials moving to the cities that we talked about, once again, it's driving it up for each other too. So Bank of America in this research says the enormous inflows mean that over the long term, housing prices will continue to rise in these destinations. So getting no relief right here. And then the number 1 reason is the report says, this is the pictures of the sad millennials. I love that. I love these pictures. The report says that millennial home buying won't get any better. So this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better, right? They said boomers have pulled ahead of their children because being wealthier, having more cash on hand, and it makes them less rate sensitive, right? So millennials are getting knocked out of the housing market because of these 3% that went to 7% rates, makes the typical mortgage like $500 more expensive a month. And that's just not a problem that the baby boomers have. They're way less rate sensitive. So going from 3 to 7, they really don't care because they have so much cash, right? They have all this money to do. And in the near term, Bank of America expects millennials to largely remain on the sidelines. The current inventory in the market is far too expensive for many to afford. But they said the bank is optimistic that this trend won't last forever and housing demand will likely rebound for young millennials, those under 35 in the years to come. And the answer to the question that we asked earlier about how much real estate assets baby boomers have, it's 19 trillion, and that's in comparison to the 7 trillion that millennials have. So we go over housing market trends on this channel. It's a relatively new channel, but people are really, really liking it so far. So if you like this, if you like seeing the U.S. housing market, where it is, where it might be going, like and subscribe to this channel.